Hi guys, and welcome to our How to Handyman series. In this video we're going to take you through some tricks with a humble tape measure. Alright, I bet you didn't think there was much to learn about working with a tape measure, did you? Well, yeah, neither did I actually, until I started trying to figure out why this little doodad, the hook on the end, why it actually moved. And despite having been building on and off for the last sort of 40 odd years, it was something that had always interested me because I saw tape measures and I went, is it loose? Do I need to tighten it up? Well then, when I did the research, I actually figured out there's a good reason for it, and hence this video. And the reason's really simple, and once you sort of understand it, you sort of go, oh, why didn't I think of that? And it's simply that, if this end was fixed, then we'd always get inaccurate measurements, because the actual end of this hook is about 0.5 millimeter thick. So the reason this moves, it's to allow for this thickness. And that means when we pull on the tape measure and measure a piece of timber, for example, that's going to give us exactly the right distance on of whatever it is that we're measuring. So in this case, it's about 357 mil. However, if we were trying to measure between two things and we needed to push the tape measure up against something, so we've pushed up, then whatever we measure will become accurate as well. All right, what else is there? There's actually a couple of other things too, all to do with this little hook. In the end of the hook, there's usually a little hole, and that hole is used to hook over a nail. So, just to give me 1 second. So how many times have you had your tape measure going, say, a long distance? Let's spin around. Ignore the lights. And you're trying to hook onto something a long way away, but it just keeps popping off or falling off. So if you grab a nail, that nail is designed to, well, that little hole is designed to hook over the nail, like so. So if we come a long distance out, hopefully it'll follow me with a focus all the way back here. I think it will. Hammer a nail in wherever you want to measure. Hook the tape measure over the end, and it doesn't matter which way you go, it ain't gonna fall off. Again, pretty simple when you know how. And probably the last couple of things that might be of interest. Every tape measure, and let's see if we can get, again we'll get some focus. You'll see some writing on the bottom of the tape measure. That's this distance here. That's between the two. So if you want to measure between two things, in this case it's 89 millimeters. If you're trying to measure between two things like before, if you push your tape measure up hard against one and come in here, whatever this distance in here is, which is in this case 321 mil, add 89 mil onto it, and that'll be the distance between the two pieces of timber. And then just a couple of more little hints and tips with tape measures. Tape measures come obviously in metric and imperial. This one's got millimeters on one side, it's got inches on the other. Whereas my preference is millimeters all the way through. Depends which part of the world you're working in. If you're working in Europe, if you work in the UK and certainly in the US, then feet and inches is actually quite useful. The rest of the world, sort of Europe and certainly Australia, that has gone fully metric these days. So metric tape measures Although I was lucky enough to be brought up in an age where I learnt both metric and imperial systems, so having both on a tape measure really doesn't worry me too much at all. A couple of other things you might also find useful. Some tape measures, and this one's not one. I actually went to the hardware shop to try and find one, but couldn't. Some tape measures on their tapes will actually have marks, say every 450, 600, 900, and those distances correspond with the distances when you're building between studs. So it just makes it really easy to pull your tape measure out and just go mark, 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 mark. But as I said, I went through probably about a dozen different types and varieties of tape measures in our local hardware store, and I couldn't find any with that particular system. So yeah, but then again, you can do that manually as well. So there you go, humble tape measure. Who would have thought it? Yeah. So that's it for this video. As always, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to pump out as many as possible. I think I've got about 8 or 9 videos at the moment that are all in post-production that I need to get through. Just been upgrading my technology, so there's been a little bit of a hold up in getting that sorted out. But yeah, we'll get there as quickly as possible. So anyway, hopefully you like what you see, and I'll look forward to doing the next video for you. I'll see you soon. It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Hang on, let's try this.